You live.
Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Pulse. Derick and Donnie, the Pulse. On this podcast, we will take on a lot of subjects, try to tackle some things that affect brown people in our communities, from a religious, from a political, from a sports landscape. So we want to be able to touch on a lot of different things that we have strong opinions, we have strong knowledge of in our community, but it's not presented as if we have any interest what's going on in the world around us. So I'm looking forward to having these discussions. I've been debating and having discussions with this brother right here since I've been in the third grade.
Wow.
Yeah. And let me restart. My name is Derick Boyd, uh, and I'm truly glad to have these discussions with you all.
Tell them a little bit about yourself, Mr. Boyd.
Uh, I'm Derick Boyd. I grew up in the Sandtown community of Baltimore City. Uh, went to Matthew Alexander Henson Elementary School, Walbrook Senior High School, Appalachian State, PG County. I mean, I've done a little bit of all. Professionally, I've been in the mentor uh, in the human service industry for 20 something years.
Wow.
I really, really love what I do um, because I get the impact and I get to see the impact. I get to see the flip side to a lot of things as well. So it keeps me grounded, humble, understanding, uh, and really, not to be redundant, but keeps me relevant and having a pulse on what's really going on around me in my communities. It's a little something, something about me.
Well, my name's Donnie Glover. I went to school with this gentleman back at Matthew Alexander Henson. We're commonly referred to in private circles as the Henson boys.
That's
A
correct.
plug to some of our other classmates, John McCauley, William White. We stay in touch regularly. Gerald Claus. You're talking about a half a century of
Yeah.
knowing each other.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. It's been a beautiful journey. More importantly, to see my brothers who, I had the opportunity to come up with and know very well, know what they had to navigate to, for all of us to achieve the successes that we've had. Um, has come with a lot of scars, but we here to tell a story, and that's what's important.
So, give me a topic.
Well, Donnie, I would like to touch on something I know to be real sensitive to a lot of people, and I get it, and I don't want to diminish our stage or what that event meant, but I want to touch on the CIAA tournament if we could.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and
First of all, we can't even go into that without going back to your resume. You gotta watch out when them cats take the glasses off.
oh boy,
I mean, we have to give you your props because in this city, I mean, you in gorgeous Prince George's, but you're a legend. You're a basketball legend.
I really appreciate.
Lefty. Got to take his left from him.
I really appreciate that, Donnie. I had the great honor of competing in Baltimore City, basketball in particular, where it taught me some life skills as a kid that I had no idea that would sustain me as they have. Just very competitive environment. Um, Everybody was good, so it was just good to be in the conversation that, the guys that play ball in the city, it's just a lot of mutual respect because we understood the competition level that we had to perform in, and it was a high level. I played against my junior and senior year in high school at Walbrook Senior High School, Go Warrior Nation, um, for those who are familiar with the Baltimore area. I know we have people from all over the country, but just to focus on that area specifically, I played with against the greatest high school basketball team ever assembled in this country, and that was the Dunbar Pulse with Reggie Lewis, Muggsy Bogues, Reggie Williams. I mean, Reggie Williams, we were very, very good friends. We played middle school basketball together over at Herm Run. Believe it or not, a lot of people don't even know we lived in East Baltimore for a short period of time. But just one of my best friends during my childhood. And just to give you an idea how good that team was, Reggie Lewis was the sixth man. He came off the bench. I mean, and we had some battles with these guys. And the great part about it, Donnie, was these battles, we had these battles since we were 10, 9, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, all the way up through the ranks. So it wasn't that we didn't know each other or wasn't familiar with each other. But
see, that's where you got to throw in. You said 9 or 10. I was thinking about this earlier today. 9 or 10. I might have touched a basketball once over at Cecil Kirk.
Right.
But my parents weren't really letting me go outside over there in East Baltimore. But when I did get there, James Mosher baseball, you say 9 or 10. I was thinking James Mosher baseball, but 9 or 10, you were ready for BNBL Project Survival. That's where it started in Baltimore.
Oh, absolutely. Actually, it started for me at age 7 or 8. And it started at Bentlow Rec.
Bentlow.
Yeah. And there's a nationally known youth coach in all parts of the country, actually, who I got, learn how to play the game.
Mr. Herman.
Coach Herm Johnson, who just passed about a year ago or so, God rest his soul. Man, he was just, as far as the fundamentals and learning the game, being in a competitive environment, that was the first real competitive environment. Because I thought I was good, Don. In my neighborhood, I was, you know how it is when you come from different, neighborhoods.
Who you there?
Tyrone Bottom, Rudy Archer. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Andre Nicholson, and I'm just naming a few, man. Herman, Braxton. It goes on and on and on, man. And it's a lot of names that I'm not just like dismissing, but there's so many that come up through that program. And it was just, when I got to Bentlow, man, I realized, because I was, at least in my mind, I was advanced in my neighborhood on the playgrounds and all that. I was pretty advanced. When I got down Bentlow, I was like, wow, that was, the first time at an early age that I realized there's a lot of guys who's good.
I noticed something else about Bentlow. Bentlow Rec.
Okay.
It's an institution.
Yeah. And actually, we affectionately call it Bentlow University, Don.
Okay. Bentlow University. But I'm going somewhere with this.
Okay.
It's located south of what? Easterwood. What Bentlow down like down by the Nowhere Highway. But what I'm getting to is in that area, you going down, what's that? Going down Warwick.
Yep, down Warwick and all that, yeah. Baltimore Street, Loretta Avenue, all that, yeah.
But Bentlow Rec is surrounded by what? Homeowners
and train tracks. But no, it's a home, it's nestled in actually a very well-maintained and kept homeowners community. Even to this day, Donnie, you're right.
And so I think that's the homeowners, the community association, they help provide the foundation.
Agreed. Yeah,
I mean,
I agree with that.
You look at Lillian Jones. Behind Lillian Jones is Gilmore Homes.
Totally different, man.
It's you can sense Easterwood. Yeah. Surrounded by a lot of homeowners, but there was something different about Bentlow. I think maybe because it was somewhat geographically isolated.
I never processed that younger.
What's the closest wreck to Bentlow?
Yeah, that's a good one, Donnie.
So like in Southwest,
probably Easterwood
was the closest thing, but that was like it was surrounded. It was people coming there from all different places, but
Correct.
Bentlow was kind of like basketball was treated at Bentlow kind of like running and jogging is treated in Kenya, in Ethiopia.
Okay.
Just
that's interesting. No, I do, Don. I never processed it like that, like you explained, but it makes sense. It really, really does. Now, one of the things that was the number one draw for me, that when I did get a chance to go down to Bentlow, because it was one of the coaches we played, I was playing with Lillian Jones Rec, and we played against some team, and man, I had one of them days. I burned them up. And he was, he was one of the first coaches, was like, look, man, I want to take you, because he understood that Lillian Jones, God bless him, they was a good rec, but they wouldn't be able to offer me the development I would need. So he understood that. And when I got to Bentlow, it was obvious, because Herm had a program, Donnie, and you know what I mean by that. It was a program, Brother Irv. It was a program. That's Brother Irv on?
Yeah, I'm getting ready to send him the link now. Buggy, stop playing. There's the link right there. Bam.
Good. I want Buggy in on this CIAA. I can't wait to get his feedback on that.
But so before we get to that CIAA, we talked about Bentlow,
yes, sir,
Eastwood, Lillian Jones. I can't overlook, I can't fail to mention John Eager Howard.
Come on, man. I mean, I just mentioned a few, but you talking about mega rec programs.
Did you ever
you had to be a baller. You had to be a baller to play that.
Derick, did you ever play against, and I never met this guy in person, I've heard so many stories, even to this day, not about his basketball, really about his stick-ups, but his name was Tony Bunch.
Oh my God, yes, man. One out, come on, man. Tony Bunch, just
is it true he beat up Bugs?
A childhood buddy of mine, man. Love him to death, man. Love him, man. Tony Bunch was a childhood friend of mine from the John Eager Howard community. And could ball, man, back in the day, man.
They tell me he was D'ing up Muggs at a point.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far, but
you know. Go that
far. But Donnie,
I wasn't there.
But I will say this. But what I will say about Tony is he ain't backing down from nobody. I don't care if it was Muggsy Bogues, Michael Jordan. He gonna accept the challenge. But that was how we were wired, Donnie, and that's what I mean about the competition. You didn't come into playing nobody and you really had a mental edge. So it was really about what you done put into your game. You know what I mean? How you develop to go at these guys. Because these guys, man, even when they knew talent-wise they wasn't better than you, but they brought some other intangibles to the table that leveled the playing field.
They tell me one time after playing Lafayette, that's where Muggs and them played, said after playing them, they noticed that Muggs and the other players on Lafayette went and played a whole new set of games. Meaning after the BNBL game was over, they go back to another game and play another 2-3 hours.
Yep. And there's no coincidence, Donnie, to how they develop and evolve. One thing that I have to give the utmost respect, and they were my rivals, man. I mean, when I say rivals, I came back up in the city where there was real dividing lines. It was Dunbar, it was Walbrook, it was West Baltimore, East Baltimore. You had the guys on the corner, and a lot of them we loved. Would let you know, boy, I put a couple dollars on that tonight. Let's go. You know what I mean? So you understood how much this meant to your communities. That was obvious, man. So I'll never forget stuff like that, man. But the one thing that separated Dunbar was just that. One of the advantages, well, I don't even want to say advantages. One of the things that Dunbar did well, I think we talked about this before, Donnie, so I won't go too deep, was that Dunbar always in East Baltimore, the gold standard, the 5-star program in the entire East Baltimore, everybody knew was Dunbar. So the top talent in East Baltimore, Dunbar got all that, and then everything that was left went to Lake Clifton, went to, you get what I'm saying? And in West Baltimore, the dynamics were different. But the talent was greater, I will tell you. We have more dudes in West Baltimore, and I know that's up for debate and argument, and I'll accept that.
But geographically, West Baltimore is bigger.
That now you're talking about exactly, Don. So in West Baltimore, you got Walbrook, Douglas, Carver, Northwestern, Forest Park. I go on and on and on. Southwestern, the guys that I played with as kids at Dunbar, most of them had to go to Southwestern because where I was located with the Walbrook. And I say all that to say that if we would have structured West Baltimore similarly to what they were doing in the East, then I think the pendulum would have been much different. But because of that, you had
East Baltimore is more close knit.
Absolutely. And that's not nothing. I'm not saying that like, oh man, they had these advantages. No.
It was survival. And for them, if you ain't the baddest basketball player, that means you're going to spend the rest of your life in Somerset.
There you go. No, it really was life that, decisions for a lot of guys, man. And not just, Dunbar and East Baltimore, for a lot of guys, man. It saved us. The rec saved us. The court saved us, Donnie. The rec
but I also got to put a plug in, and he wasn't. I mean, I felt he was vicariously my big brother, your big brother, Preston.
Oh my God, yeah, man. I've been blessed with that, Donnie. I must say, I've been blessed with a brotherhood on a couple of levels that I don't take lightly, man. I got my brothers by birth. I got my Henson boy brother. I mean, if I really, which I do often, get in my reflective modes, man, I'm telling you, man. But yes, Preston, one of my heroes in life, man. You know what I mean? Just, there's no other way to say it. He's always been not only a big brother to me, but arguably my best friend. You know what I mean? Never judgmental. Just always, standing me up, man, when I needed to, just stand a little tall at certain points in your life. I don't know about anybody else.
I know he wasn't your dad, but I knew if Preston came up to the school, boy, it was like,
come on, man.
Donnie, it was almost like your dad.
Donnie, you knew what it was back then. If you had big brothers, man, you wasn't out of order. You know what I mean? We ain't carry it like that. We respected elderly. We respected our seniors. I respected your mother. Your father was a bigger threat to me than mine. That's how we came up, Donnie. So I didn't know anything else. One of the things my mom passed along, which I think geniusly, was she always instilled order. There was natural order amongst us as brothers. So it's never been, people always talk about our relationship. Our relationship has been what it is because we was raised in order. So it never would be dysfunctional because we always understood the order. So I never tried to be the big brother. Preston he's our leader. That's the leader of the Boyd brothers is Preston. Why? Because that's the natural order of things. So Derick is not trying to be the lead brother because that's not my role.
You revered him and it showed.
Yeah, so it's not my role. And on down the line, and Devin, even my youngest brother, he's the baby. And
he treat me like an old man. That's Derick friend. It's like you up there on that other.
But we always, the genius of it, Don, is that order. We respect order and we respect that structure. It's very similar to the relationship we have, with Buggy and the Henson book. All of us, man, is that there's just always been a natural, true acceptance for all of our individuality. What we brought to it, we've never tried to shape that different than anything other than who we always been.
Buggy and there was 13 and under. I knew I was 11 and under, and 13 under. They the big boys.
Hello.
I used that line on my father once. I was late getting back from Giovanni's, and he said, "Why are you late?" He was standing on the corner, Moreland and Baker. I said, "I couldn't leave. The big boys hadn't left yet. They were."
And you know what? Those who know you ain't lying.
Yeah. But that's a long walk from Giovanni's all the way back down the bottom by yourself, man.
What? That could be a very, precarious walk. Believe me, back then.
So let's get to your money. You're down in gorgeous Prince George's, and I gotta tell you, CIAA, the Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association, they're coming to Baltimore was an education for me. And a shout out to our teachers who always pushed us to continually learn, also to be aware of social studies, what's happening around us. Bowie, of the 4 schools, of the 4 HBCUs in Maryland, Morgan, Coppin, University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, they're in the MEAC, but the school, your neighbor school, Bowie State, is in CIAA. So it comes to Baltimore after 36 years in Charlotte. So that's the backdrop. Take it from there.
Okay. So there's a couple things that I want to highlight because there is a delicate balance to this. One of the things I want to talk about is, and I don't even want to say it was the CIAA more than it was the city. So let me shape this how I really want. I really think we missed the opportunity with the CIAA tournament here, in my opinion. Now, they had their education day. They had that, little virtual experiences where, you could talk about the college and university. And all that's great. I'm not minimizing that. It's a necessary, right? It's very necessary. The economic impact that the city would need, absolutely everything, on and on and on. There's a lot of positive things that come out of this. And my prayer is that it gets better. But for me, the bigger issue is what did we do with that platform in Baltimore City? That for me is, let's call it what it is. We're in a state of emergency, okay? For those who, Baltimore City is in a state of emergency.
They're killing women and girls, little girls, women.
So, and don't get me wrong, that's not the responsibility totally, completely of a tournament that's popping in for a week. But
it is a reality.
But it is a reality, Don. And one of the things that struck me with my interaction and my reading and my monitoring and my communicating with friends through social media, my brothers down there, in and out, all of us was all over the city that weekend in one form or fashion. One of the things that struck me was just that we had a platform that the timing of it, Donnie, was perfect to me. The CIAA tournament coming here when it did, the timing, pandemic seemed to be lessening. I mean, logistically, the timing, all that was, the ducks was just there, if you ask me. But I think we fell way short once again in the political landscape for me. We fell completely short because it wasn't really a community collaborative effort to me. See, because if you're going to do this, you got to do this based on the pulse of the city. What do this city need right now? See, because too many times when you bring these events and from a media standpoint, you're saying we're doing this, we're going to have this, we want to give back to our city, our community. But is it really impacting the community for which you're doing that in right now? What do this city need right now to propel them? The morale of the city is god awful low. You got the kids in second, third, fourth, fifth grade that it's just what are they looking up to and at? So we missed that. We failed that because we only targeted alumni who have been blessed like you and I, and I'm like you and I to ascend and excel and have different life experiences, that we can fly into a town and spend a weekend and be a part of the economic impact of a community, because we've ascended to that. But so it was more of a party of who was coming in town, not the town itself.
Whoa.
So it was a party for who was coming in town, but it really wasn't a party for who in town. Because if you did that, Donnie, then you got to have, and let me touch on a few things if I can real quick about the CIAA. First of all, do we even have, some of us, the idea of some of the names who are attached to this? Earl of Pearl Monroe. Let me say that again. Stephen A. Smith. I'm just throwing some who are graduates of HB. Come on. Big House Gaines. I can go on and on and on and on. Right? Not to mention the legends that are from this city, of this city, and do have a sense of the city, like guys like you and I, because we invested in it. And I'm not saying people don't care. I'm just saying there's a difference in caring and being invested in it.
And knowing it.
And knowing it, Donnie.
I mean, your memories from Bentlow can't be replaced by anything. Irreplaceable.
Come on, man.
So I'm hearing you say that whoever was doing the coordinating, they left the people of Baltimore City out of the CIAA.
Oh, no, it's no question about it. Because, one of the things that, and let me be careful how I say this, because we are in a very sensitive time we're in right now. But we have to be careful about our personal intentions when we have certain platforms, landscapes, and stages. We better be careful, because I'm telling you, Donnie, this became more about individuals propping as opposed to individuals. And I'm going on in mayor. You can give it all. I ain't all of them. Listen, man, this was an opportunity for this to be done on such a scale that you want that when they leave here, it has not economic impact. Yeah, that needs to happen. But the economic impact is still happening for the same top 2% that has been happening for all along.
You're talking about the cultural and the education.
Yes. See, Donnie, you got to do it where it leaves an impact in communities where kids really, where you got these type of guys. Can you imagine if you get the legends of Baltimore City to come back to the historical college, Black college and university celebration in Baltimore this weekend, and you're going to tell me ain't nobody reached out to Stephen A. Smith, ain't nobody reached out to Muggsy Bogues, ain't nobody reached out to, come on.
Bob Wade, Coach Bob Wade.
Reggie Lewis, Derick, anybody that knows this city that really can draw up, because guess what happens when you do that? Now all these kids from the rec center want to come downtown, and you suddenly make it accessible to them, Donnie. This thing wasn't even accessible from an affordability standpoint in a city that's impoverished. I don't know if anybody.
You've been to CIAA when it was in Charlotte?
Oh, absolutely. On several occasions.
So
and but
you have something to contrast. It was a difference.
Yeah, but let me be careful how I contrast this, because I want to be fair, because I'm not beating my city up. I'm just expressing that we missed an opportunity, and if I'm reading this correct, that we want to have this 3-year contractual relationship with them, then doggone it, we got to do better. We got to do better. We got to take these 2-3 years, and we have to make sure it stick for us and stick where it needs to.
Well, in order to do that, they're going to have to pull in
it's the only way,
some actual Baltimoreans. See, what I find is, even in our community, a lot of times you have non-Baltimoreans, black or white, attempting to think for the locals. See,
Well,
if
it's
you
the
never
same
been
thing with me, Donnie.
if
Don,
you
it's the
never
same
been to
thing.
Melba's, or you don't know
Yeah.
about Club International or 5 Mile House,
Come on.
or you never been bowling on Lafayette Avenue, or you ain't never been to Boat Check, you ain't never,
Yep.
you lack it. You don't know where Cecil Kirk is
Nope.
or the Dome. You kind of disconnected, so you need a tour guide. But
Yeah.
what I find is we a lot of times have people who are not connected making decisions. And that's no different than American foreign policy. We're going into another land and telling people how they should live. When we've never spent 5 minutes with them. We don't know we never been to the corner store with them,
Agreed.
the sub
Agreed.
shop. They ain't
Yep.
never been to Smoots up north.
Yeah, man. No, it's it's another narrative, and it's been one of those that's been getting some media, rightfully so. But I had a friend of mine, and I'll be careful, but I had a friend of mine who wanted me to get involved with Safe Streets. Right? Now, and in theory, conceptually, it's a great idea, Donnie. But like most things, the people who you got executing don't have a clue. Now, Safe Streets, listen to me. I believe, and I believe it, Donnie, and I know you do. Our brothers getting second opportunity when they come back into the system. But Safe Streets Foundation shouldn't be built on guys who've been away for 30 or 35 years. But these are the guys we want to go and talk to, a youth at risk that they don't even have a clue of these guys' path for where they even at.
Doesn't sound like the smartest move.
At all. And I'm not even saying that don't have its value, because I think there's procedural steps that anybody you trying to give a path to or opportunity, it's got to be in layers. So I'm not saying it don't have its place, Donnie.
But if they're gonna be on the corner, they probably need a therapist out there to assist them. They can break the ice.
There you go.
But if you just spent the past 25 years locked up.
But me and you ain't the brightest idea, because, oh, by the way, we've been here. We grew up in here. We've watched the changes. We've watched our community go from being a community to there ain't no more damn community. I've watched it all right before my damn eyes.
Here's my thing with Safe Streets. If you're going to take somebody out the game and they've been making 50, 75, 100 a year, can you really hold them over with a $15 an hour job? Well, can you hold them over with 20? I mean, because
this is our first debate. This is our first debate.
So just like a drug addict,
okay,
is addicted to the substance, I found that the drug dealer is addicted to the money.
Agreed. We know that. Your question was, can you remove that?
No, can you pay him $15, $20 an hour and expect him to maintain when he used to getting 75, 100?
Yeah, but see, Donnie, but to me, we're missing a crucial stopgap in that. Because if you just gonna say from 50 to 15 and you ain't put nothing in between it for us preparation, their outlook on life in general there's some things that needs a value system. You get what I'm saying? And what's happening is what you're saying is so right, because they just going from that to say here. And when they see $100 bill for 5 days in a row, we can't, for the life of us, can't figure, well, why would he want that $100? It's insane.
Because it's not just the money, it's the lifestyle.
Yes.
It's the power.
Yeah.
You had the money. You can pay for people to be around you.
Yeah. See, Don, and one of the things we do, to me, when a city is in crisis, because what we talk about is our city is in crisis, and part of us touching on the CIAA was not to beat the city down even more. It's just that for me, Donnie, I just want, anybody who, who are listeners and the general public understand that if we think we got time to not take advantage of opportunities and platforms and stages that we have right now, you're missing it. We need this, man.
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, and this is not for the sake of argument.
I got you.
I'm just gonna say it. You got people making decisions for children who don't have no children, never raised no children, ain't got a damn clue about children. It's like people coming on saying, "Oh, time out, time out." Time out ain't work in my neighborhood. Your mother's frying pan worked just fine. Now, other people say, "Oh, that's abuse." Mm-hmm. But and I know where we grew up, they might have to do a little something extra to get your attention. Right. Inside the schools, we saw Mr. Williams politely get a cat's attention. And we know that he saved their lives because we can get to talk to them today because they were very well on their way to the penitentiary, Jessup Cut, what have you.
Absolutely.
We keep letting people who can't raise their own children tell us how to raise ours, and I think that's the first problem.
I totally agree. There's another problem for me too, Donnie, and this has always been one of my pet peeves because you know the industry I'm in, and I deal with a lot of families. A lot of environmental factors that got everything to do with where a kid is at or not at. But I feel like, Donnie, we hold parenting. There's like no accountability for parenting until something horribly bad happens. Any parent that's in jail for child abuse, I can stake my claim on it. That usually something bad that happened. Now we're going to address it. See, I think there needs to be accountability for parenting. I really, really do. I think when we see parents that showing tendencies that we know can lead to, here we go again, now breaking that cycle. And when I say accountability, I'm not talking about prison, but I'm talking about accountability because a lot of these people, look what happened with the welfare to work. I always use that as a great example for my people. Look what happened with all the narrative around that. And I'm telling you, some of our greatest success stories come from that. Stand that you will not be a fourth generation welfare family. You no longer can do that, and the government is not going to sustain it anymore. So it's only a bridge for you to get somewhere. Either you're going to go somewhere or you're not going to be on it. So either way, you're going somewhere.
Which is what it should have been, kind of like the projects. The projects were supposed to be to hold you over, but the goal was never to stay there.
Correct.
5-6 generations.
Correct, Doc. And that's what, and that's my, like you said, the project. I'm telling you, some of the cleanest, beautiful places, Donnie. I lied back in the day. The Afro Clean Block were project community. Some people would think that's like insane, but I'm telling you, they were some of the most spectacular. Kept their gardens up, painted. Come on, Dad. I'm not making this stuff. But see,
part of that is stigmas. What a lot of people don't know about Gilmore Homes, it was one of the first places built for the families of veterans returning from war, Black veterans.
Wow, really?
Gilmore Homes. I've been told the same about Cherry Hill projects. I learned this just recently. So they had places for whites to go, but the places for Black veterans to go were limited. But my understanding is that Gilmore Homes was originally intended for veterans, for the families of veterans.
Wow.
So that adds a whole new bit of information because there's always this stigma about the projects. And like you and I know, there are some people who break law and live in the projects, but there are other people in the projects, they ought to be respected. I think of Margaret Ruffin. She was the queen of Gilmore Homes, and she helped a lot of people,
Yes.
especially people who wanted help, people who wanted to help themselves.
Yes.
And that's one beautiful thing about our city, that if you want help, regardless of your challenges, your situations, somebody around here been through it.
That's true. That's true, Don. And I don't want, like I said, this is not a beat the city up thing, but
they failed. You being polite about it, they failed. And
yeah, they failed, man.
They failed. Had a bunch of damn VIP parties, a bunch of VIP parties.
That's all it was, man. That's all.
And
that's
you
all.
Forgot about the real VIP, which is these kids.
There you go, Don. And that's my point. I didn't get no alerts or nothing, and I'm connected. You know, I'm Bentlow Rec Hall of Fame. I'm connected. I ain't heard from none of my people up there that was like, yeah, man, we're gonna be down. They giving a camp for the kids down. You know what I mean?
Because you had blacks making decisions for CIAA who were disconnected from the community. They don't know the community.
Yeah,
they really out of towners. They don't know Baltimore.
But Donnie, that's why I say I don't. This is not even about the CIAA. I'm just
it's about the isms in the black community.
Correct. This ain't about the CIAA. This is about, once again, and people don't understand the optics. See, the optics of his young hip hop mayor. I'm just telling you the optics. I'm not anyway. So the optics from afar is young hip hop mayor. Wow, look at these, look at these fools. They can't look. We'll give them the damn. They don't even know what to do when you give it to them. See, nobody can even say. And I'm telling you, we don't want to get with the optics, Donnie. We got to really start having. Well, I won't say start having, because we need to really have some serious, deep conversation. And I pray that the Creator give me an opportunity where I really experience that. Hopefully I'm here where I can see where not we having a conversation with some other race or demographics, that we become comfortable enough to have real conversations with ourselves.
CIAA, one thing a young man brought to our attention is the arena could have had banners, flags of the various HBCUs involved in the CIAA. It could have these banners all alongside Baltimore Street, up and down Charles Street.
It was terrible, Donnie.
Nobody knew it was here.
I've been to conferences. I've been to CIAAs. I've been to ACC over in DC. It is when I say all in, the example you giving right there, banners everywhere. You seeing the school pride everywhere. But we can't, you know why we can't do that? Because we don't want them to walk Howard Street side, because ain't nothing there. So you got to push everything one direction, and the one direction we push them ain't a whole lot there. So, no, man, it was so terribly done. When me and you talk, I said, you was like, Derick, how was your week? I said, it was not. Come on, man.
And your point is black mayor, majority black city, historically black college and universities coming to Baltimore. If we do really well, they may want to come back. I got to put this to you. One of the reasons that CIAA left Charlotte is because they said that nobody was attending the games. Everybody was attending the VIP parties.
You know why? And that's my point, Donnie. I totally get it. Because it's all based on, let's just come hang out. Oh, and by the way, since you're coming in town, we're going to have a couple games, something for you to go to. As opposed to if you bring that same crowd in town, whether you're going to Charlotte or you're coming to Baltimore, wherever it was, and these people become a part of the fabric of the city, man, that they're going to see camps. They're going to see a 3-on-3. I'm just saying, you have to be so outside the box, Don. This was so 1995 to me. This is 2000. I'm like, come on, man.
I got to share something else with you.
Showcase the city, Donnie.
Baltimore, this was a prime opportunity, but I got to ask you, when have these people who are in charge ever had such an opportunity?
And that's the point.
Well, one could say Afram. I mean, they'd have moved Afram out Druid Hill Park so much more. I'm not going out the damn zoo.
First of all, Donnie, you know, like I know, the day it was moved to Drew Hill Park, it was like y'all could have that. They sent it on up there. Y'all can have that too. I don't even want to nowhere near.
But Artscape and the
Oh,
Baltimore Book Festival,
come
well,
on.
these things, they are staples. And
Yeah.
it's a black city. It's like, is it really a black city?
Yeah.
Is
See,
this
Donnie,
really a black city?
it is a black city, Donnie. And this is what I mean about the
I mean,
conversation.
Atlanta a black city, DC a black city, even though they're struggling. But what's
Yeah,
up in Baltimore? We got all these black officials.
but Donnie, it's a black city, black officials. But until we change that real train of thought, Donnie, that we're still waiting for this, like, all right, come in. Y'all know we ain't been treated fair. So we still expect them to owe us. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things that need to be addressed.
We
But
owe ourselves, man.
But we got to do it ourselves, Donnie. We in position. Prime example, I had a great debate, man, with one of my coworkers about Juwan Howard, the head coach for Michigan.
When he went off,
I said, Donnie, he should be fired immediately. And my boy was like, man, it wouldn't be them. I'm not talking about them. See, because you're making it about them, and this is about us.
He violated.
He had the platform, Donnie. He was Michigan Big Ten top program. Do you know how hard it is for us to get to be opportunistic, to be in that position? So what you do in that position is on national TV in a Bravo game. You go straight Detroit, Chicago on us. And all it does, Don, is say, so what do you think? You think the next opportunity is coming through? Just like that? See, that's what I mean, Donnie, about serious conversations about, yes, we want to be opportunistic. Yes, trends, opportunity. We can go on and on. We know that.
Any mark against you as a black person, you already know they're looking for it.
You already know they're looking for
it. As a black elected official, you know they want you to slip, especially if you got any heart, any blackness. You know they want you to slip.
Come on. But what they banking on, what they've always banked on, Don, and until that change, they're going to always be able to bank on it. And that's that our lack of being unified for any one strong thing. The only thing we can become and I won't say the only thing. One of the things that bother me the most that we become unified over is when we have a Caucasian or another demographic offend one of us. I'm not getting into the police and all that. It happens. We're organized, Donnie. Let's have a march. Here come Al Sharpton. Let's go. Meanwhile, we got 350 murders.
I'm gonna get deeper than that. A lot of us are Democrat before we black.
And we don't even know why.
We Democrat before we black. If you say anything that's not Democrat, oh my God, as if these people have loved your community all your life. No. Matthew Henson ain't been renovated. Leon Jones ain't been renovated. Chick Webb, they ready to tear down. What has gone in the black community? John Eager Howard, they got a new school, Dorothy Height. Rodell over there coaching. The young people can't even use the damn gym. Hey, look, I gotta shift gears. We want, this country, it's all in the news. Mm-hmm. Russia.
Yes.
Now, I don't know how deep you are. I know you watch the news, but let me just ask you, do you think that Russia just woke up one day and said, I'm going to take that? Or you think it could have been something else? I mean,
I think it was definitely
country, because when I watched the American news, it's Russia, they're the devil. That's the same thing they were saying about Gaddafi. But Russia, Ukraine. Johns Hopkins just sent millions to Ukraine. I'm like, can Johns Hopkins send millions to East Baltimore?
East Baltimore.
I mean, damn. and pardon me, Ukraine is not but so important to me. It's no more important than what's happening in the 54 countries in Africa. I'm African. I don't want to hear about what's happening. I want to hear about Africa. I want to hear about the people who stealing land from Africans, how those conflicts, like the farmers, you've been down there enslaving black people in South Africa for decades. Now the people took their land back. I want to talk about that. I'm really not that interested in Ukraine, especially when I hear that they were treating the black refugees horribly. I don't care. It's not important to me. I want to know what's going on in Botswana, in the Congo, in Kenya, Tanzania, Nigeria, Ghana, in the Caribbean. That's important to me. What's happening over there? It's like when Belgium, remember Belgium got blown up and this and that. Oh, and then people changed their Facebook profile picture to say, oh, remember Belgium. Time out. The Belgians are the same ones that went down to the Congo and cut my people hands off. King Leopold was his name. So Donnie Glover won't be changing his profile picture to say, oh, God, I feel sorry for Belgians. No, I don't. I feel sorry for them black peoples whose hands you cut off by the thousands in the Congo. I'm sorry, I digress.
No, you didn't. I actually, first of all, like you said, I'm just always amazed how they bank on our lack of what I would say really going just another layer a little deep. It ain't even as deep as people think. You just got to go another layer deeper now and then, right? Because, Donnie, I'm telling you, most people would know I watch Fox News like I watch MSNBC. You know why? Because I want to get into why they even think the way they think. And anybody who watch Fox News for a couple of days, it will start to make some sense. Because guess what? If you watch MSNBC every day, it will start to make some sense. Now, let me back up because you touched on something. The Russia, Ukraine. Oh, Russia, Ukraine. I want to remind our people of something else. We have a deep-seated, just so deep animosity that I think it will never change with an island that ain't even 50 miles from us. And the name of that island is called Cuba.
Cuba.
Now, why is that? Why Cuba? That little piece of land down there. Why we hate them so much? You know why? Because they were going to let Russia set up shop 50 miles from our border. Now, let's spin it forward.
That's the Bay of Pigs. No. That's back with Kennedy. Now you're talking about what? 2022.
2022.
Decades later.
After you had the fall of the USSR. Look it up. It was a big place before it broke up. It was the USSR. Mother Russia, they call it. Mother Russia. Right? So they break up, and here's this daggone Ukraine. It's like I was on Fulton Avenue, Donnie. You on Appleton Street. But they say Appleton Street is now Canada. It ain't no longer the U.S. But your whole life we played on Fulton Avenue, Donnie. But somebody said, Donnie, now Appleton Street is Canada. And your father and my father, they were friends coming up. But because he on Appleton, I'm on Fulton, we two different words. Spin it forward. Now, God bless Mother U.S., we talking NATO, giving Ukrainian this money, and we're going to give them arms, and we're going to give them intel. And we all over the map in the Ukraine. We was all up in that camp. Let me hear you. Those who don't know, we was all up in Ukraine.
We were signifying.
Putin said, and he been giving messages. The message was loud and clear when Mr. Trump was in there, because Trump said the arms deal is off. See, Trump was just Trump. Trump was like, I ain't giving you no arms unless you're going to give me an election. If you can't give me an election, I ain't giving you no guns. Just trying to keep it simple for some folks. Real political simplicity. I ain't giving you no guns if you can't give me no election. End of deal. That's all we talk about with Trump, okay? Let me move on. Spin it forward. Putin knows that good old I love my country. Make no mistake about it. Good old USA. We've been all up in these people country for the last 20 years. Oh, we forgot that though. Anyway, so we in this 20-year war in Afghanistan. We finally get up out of there, right? And Putin knows, he knows they war weary. U.S. ain't trying to put no, that country ain't letting them put no troops down in nowhere right now. They tired. They've been doing that for 20 years. They tired like we were 20 years before them. Because we lost the same damn war in Afghanistan. Russia now. So the Russia and United States been kicked the hell up out of there. In order, just so you know. So now, Donnie, here we go. So now, you listen to the news. Russia. You know what Russia is basically fighting the war and obliterating Ukraine. Let them know, U.S., get out. It's time for y'all to go because I'm not going to let y'all set up shop 50 miles from me. That's what we're talking about, Donnie. And I know there's some political pundits that can break it down and make it sound so much more attractive. But for the simple person, for me, and I encourage you to look into it, I'm telling you what this is about. Ukraine ain't got nothing to do with that. Russia never got over them breaking that up. They always, do you know the most important part of Mother Russia was Ukraine? Their culture, everything about Russia.
Natural resources galore.
Basically, you saying, here, Russia, you can be Russia. We just going to take the heartbeat. Think about it like that. Oh, yeah, go ahead. We just going to take the heartbeat. Y'all can be United States, but we want New York and LA.
And this is not a new relationship. When I was at Poly, 9th grade, so you're talking about 81, there was a cat in my class from the Ukraine. He had just moved there. Igor Goldberg.
See what I'm saying? Yeah.
This is not new. These are ongoing relationships. But, you know, I got to tell you, when I was in the Middle East, I got a chance to see BBC, British Broadcasting.
Okay.
And one thing about the Middle East, these countries are side by sides, like states.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to lie.
Yeah.
Because everybody's seen it. But over here in America, it's so much easier to lie to the American public because what do we got? CBS, ABC, NBC, CNN,
all of it. Yeah.
But they all got the same damn news feed. Nothing different. Everything in English. The same thing. And you said it yesterday. The Democrats and the Republicans are saying the same thing.
The same thing. It's the same thing. It's all about narrative. But it's the same thing, Donnie. But
now them Haitians, let me tell you, them Haitians, they already told you the blacks leaving Poland and Romania were not given any access. Let me flash back to something not that long ago. The Haitians down at the border and the cats on horseback beating the Haitians with whips. You let European immigrants emigrate. I mean, everybody want to come to Baltimore in terms of immigrants. But when your skin color too dark, hold up, partner. Hold up.
Yeah, but Donnie, we have, and that's where I mean that, and that's probably the most troubling part to me is that pain ain't been enough for us to really just come together because oddly enough, Donnie, with all those things we're saying, our demographic, these brown people clearly have shown we're the strongest people in this world.
I know,
because in spite of all that, Donnie, we have amassed power that's really threatening to the world now. That's why when they come at you like they coming at us now, in the open society where they saying, you niggas, I mean, they making it comfortable again to say it. They make it comfortable for them to express themselves. See, them days is back, Donnie. And you know why that's back? Because we have amassed real power. And one day they woke up and said, well, I'll be damned. Whoa. And we got power, Donnie. So with all that said, but our power is so scattered that it hasn't come like, And if it ever do that, watch out. Watch out.
We're out of time for this week. We're gonna be back next week.
Let's do it, bro. Well, you already got me thinking. This has been wonderful, my friend.
Yeah, we got to get into some other topics about family, about relationships, about politics.
Yeah, I love
the whole nine. Next Tuesday at 9 p.m. right here with the one and only Derick Boyd.
The Pulse. Thank everyone. All right.
Good night.
Good night.